Now after getting the planar polarized light, we will pass the planar polarized light through a polarimeter tube. This is a polarimeter tube which is built for this particular purpose only, for doing the experiment on optical isomerism. Now a polarimeter tube which contains the given solution. You can see the solution, I have kept it in a beaker, a small beaker or whatever it is. You will keep it, the solution. Understood? Solution, not the solid, because solid light does not pass, opaque. So you will take the solution state. Clear? Acha. Now polarimeter tube is 1 decimeter length. It is 1 decimeter length particular tube. It's hollow. You can see both sides it's hollow. To keep the solution here, we are having an opening. So we put the solution here with the help of beaker, and then we pass the light into it. Alright, that's a polarimeter tube which is 1 decimeter in length. We can say that. Now, next is one more thing. Let me tell you about the Nicol prism. That you may ask, the Nicol prism to do this experiment, we have to go to the what? Iceland and collect the Nicol prism from there. No, not possible. Not possible, isn't it? Just I said. Now, artificially, how can you prepare Nicol prism? Listen carefully. What you do is that you take chalk powder, calcium carbonate. Got it? You heat it to a critical temperature. Now critical temperature, when you heat it to a critical temperature, what will happen? Critical temperature, above which the substance remains in the molten state and it gets transparent. The solution gets transparent. Alright, in case of calcium carbonate, you heat it above critical temperature. So when the solution gets transparent, alright, now you take this transparent calcium carbonate solution, you take it and you put it into prismatic mold. Mold समझते हो? Mold, छाछ जिसको बोलते हैं. You put it into a prismatic mold and you refrigerate it. You cool it, refrigerate it. Or under refrigeration, it will solidify. That liquid will solidify. Alright, you take that prismatic solid and you cut it properly in a shape. And you join two prismatic solid by help of the cementing material which I said you, Candle balsam. You will be getting the Nicol prism, the rectangular glass block. In this way, artificially we prepare Nicol prism in the lab. Because it is not possible to go to the Iceland region and bring it all these things. It is not possible, isn't it? Clear. So artificially we do it in this way. Very simple. You take calcium carbonate, you heat it to a temperature above critical temperature. It will get transparent. It will liquefy. You take a solution of it. Alright. It will get this become transparent. You take the transparent solution substance. And what you do is that you put it in a mold and then you go for refrigeration. It will solidify. You take the prismatic solid, cut it properly in a shape and join the two prisms by help of a Candle balsam, the cementing material. You will be getting the Nicol prism. In this way, Nicol prism is being prepared artificially. So the planar polarized light is being passed to the given substance. Alright, and we are putting a Nicol prism and we are putting an eyepiece. This Nicol prism is called as analyzer. Before that, one Nicol prism we have used, that is what's called as polarizer. This is known as analyzer. Analyzer means it is used to analyze. It is used to analyze whether the given substance is optically active or not. Hence, it is called as analyzer. It is used to analyze whether the given substance is optically active or not. How will you analyze it? If it rotates the plane of polarized light either towards the right or towards the left, then it is optically active. If it does not, it is optically inactive in nature. So before passing the light through this particular polarimeter tube and through this particular substance, you need to make an arrangement. So you made the arrangement in this way. Now you need to make an arrangement of the eyepiece. Eyepiece means microscope. So those who are using the microscope, the bio student, they know it very well how to use the microscope. They set the microscope in such a way, that is the eyepiece they set in such a manner, so that they see across they put the slide, no? Alright, before putting the slide they adjust the microscope and they observe it they adjust the microscope in such a manner that when they are observing through the microscope, they see a crossed area, a crossed area, and when the crossed area is sharp, absolutely sharp. You've seen that when you're taking a photograph in your mobile, you'll see a particular point, you'll see the picture is absolutely sharp and there you click, then you get a good picture. But suppose if you click at any point, then the picture may be blurred. We can say that it will not be good. Alright, so here also the same thing. You need to set the microscope in that particular condition. Where you see this crossed area, you will see it, a crossed wire like you will be seeing it in a microscope. Those who have used it, they will be understanding it properly. So you need to set there the microscope there. That means when you are observing, you will be able to observe a sharp image. You will be getting it. Clear? So this crossed wire, which you will be seeing it through the eyepiece, Alright, when you will observe it to the eyepiece, you will be getting this crossed wire, and at a particular point you will see it is sharp. When sharply it is visible, alright, you need to set there. So this setting has to be done before passing the plane of polarized light. Understood now? Now you pass the plane of polarized light and you rotate the microscope. Got it? After passing the plane of polarized light and after passing through the Nicol prism, when you are observing through the eyepiece, now you rotate the eyepiece towards the right first. Then you rotate the eyepiece towards the left and see what it happens. Suppose in rotating towards right, alright, suppose you are rotating towards right in this way. Now you see a line here. Which line? This line. If you see here, it appears at a certain angle. Then what you find? That the given compound is optically active, because on rotating towards right you see this particular line. Fine. Suppose you don't see anything towards right. Suppose you don't find anything towards right. You don't see anything towards right. On rotating towards left, you get a particular line at an angle. See, you get a particular line at a particular angle. That means the compound is optically active, because this line you get it on rotating towards left. But suppose you rotated towards right, towards left, on neither of the side you saw this particular line, the sharp line. You did not see it. That means what? A compound is optically inactive in nature. Alright, you need to rotate the microscope, otherwise how will you see it? You will rotate the microscope towards right, slowly towards right. Then you will see this particular line, if it is optically active. If you rotate towards left, if you see the line towards left, then the compound is optically active. So on rotating towards right, if you see this particular sharp line, listen carefully, on rotating towards right, if you see this particular line which is sharp line making an angle, then the compound is said to be dextro. It is called as dextrorotatory, denoted with letters small d or plus sign. And if on rotating towards left, you see this particular sharp line, I said in both the cases it is optically active, then the compound is said to be as levorotatory, denoted by small l or minus sign. Alright, if on rotating towards right, you get the sharp line, that means the compound is optically active, then the compound is said to be as a dextro compound. And if it is rotating towards left, if you get the sharp line, then the compound is said to be as a levo compound, denoted by small d and small l respectively, or plus and minus sign. But if it is optically inactive in nature, then nothing, you will be seeing it. No line, nothing, you will be seeing it. Alright, nothing on rotating either towards the right or towards the left. Now you can see on rotating towards right or left, I told you will be getting an angle. What is this angle known as? This angle is known as angle of specific rotation. This is said to be as angle of specific rotation, denoted with the letter alpha. Angle of specific rotation. Now you might be wondering, what will I do with that? Suppose you are having several optically active compounds, 3 to 4 optically active compounds is there, and I am asking you which is more optically active. How will you find it out? On the basis of the value of angle of specific rotation. The one which is having more angle of specific rotation, that is more optically active. In this way you will arrange it, and you will find it out that which compound is optically active and which compound is less optically active. Got it now? What is the use of angle of specific rotation? How do you find it out, the angle of specific rotation? In this way. So this is completely a practical part. I said you that how to find a given compound is optically active or not. I hope you understood. Next class we are going to see the theoretical part. That theoretically how do you find it out the given compound is optically active or not. Alright, I hope you understood this. Thank you very much. Chalo,